The Unconditional Love Masters. This episode is about the anxious-preoccupied attachment style. And I call them love masters for a reason, because they have this ability to love unconditionally from birth, basically, and it's very hard for them to intentionally stop or put a break in in their love. And I actually admire this in anxious people, and others can learn a lot from them. So in this channel, I want to empower people who have anxious, preoccupied attachment style, because that's how they will realize that there is another way to be in relationships, how to feel loved in themselves, by themselves first, and the outside world will mirror this back to them. So they don't have to struggle and effort so much, because the knowledge itself that you are aware of the attachment styles and how the attachment system works, it will already help you to find, for example, avoidant people unattractive after a while, as you learn more and more about them, and basically seamlessly find even love partners or friends who accept you and admire you for the way you are. So anxiously preoccupied people have a talent to love without limits. And this sometimes can cause problems, but originally this is an amazing ability. What anxious people have to learn is that not everyone deserves to receive this unconditional love from them. They can, because they also, most of the time, they are very loving, generally. That's their natural attitude. But you can have a loving, kind feeling towards other fellow human beings. But the unconditional love should be only left for those who are deserving, who you can trust, who reciprocate your love, who are available, who are consistent in your life, and the love is freely flowing between you back and forth. So even if you have a confrontation or any kind of argument, you know that person is not going to leave you. That person is not going to distance themselves from you. They want to be actually come closer. They pay attention to you. They listen to you. They are accepting your concerns, and you do the same thing towards them. And you actually work out a solution, but all in the name of love. So you can love each other in the middle of an argument. And if you come from love, then the solution is also coming from an accepting and nurturing, a loving space. But it's important to learn this, because anxiously attached people, they can give their love freely and very quick and very fast to anyone. And that is a skill you can learn. Of course, we have different personalities. We are different. But in this regard, if you recognize that you have this anxious attachment style, in many ways we are behaving similarly. But according to our personality type, this come across differently. So some people who are more in control of their actions, they still can be anxious and too attached to someone quickly, but they are more in control, so they can, when they are aware of this knowledge, they are better equipped to observe themselves and be more self-aware and slow down. Someone who is very acting fastly in every area in their lives, is for them it's going to be more of a challenge. So this knowledge is, yes, it's universal, but it's also personalized when it comes to the practical side of it. And that's what actually I'm working. If I'm working with somebody, I I have my own program, the Game Changer program, and I use it. I'm using this personalizing to each and every person, because we are not all the same. Our personality is very different. We are only similar in regards to our attachment styles. So that's why we need to learn that love without limits is okay only if you have someone who is safe. And you can learn on this channel how to find safe people and how to avoid unsafe people, because um, I think we know by now that most people are not going to change that much during their lives, that you know they will be an avoidant and then suddenly they will be a secure within a few weeks or months. That's not going to happen. In my view, in my the way I see it, it's never going to change 100%ly, and it even they can only change to a degree. But their instinctual behavior for an avoidant is always going to be rejection, detachment, dismissing you. Even just the word is shouldn't be in love. If you love someone, you don't dismiss them, you respect them. So that's why I'm not supporting to give your love to freely to anyone. Definitely not to avoidant people. And even I see this in friendships or at work situations. I'm not giving my love freely to just anyone anymore. I did before, but now I have boundaries and I love them, and it make me it yeah, they made me more empowered and more powerful and more self-assured and self-confident, and definitely I feel much better in my life since I have this knowledge, like so much better that I can't even put into words. So yeah, have unconditional love, but with conditions. In brackets, conditions means not for everyone. So the next issue I would like to talk about is how to recognize your anxious preoccupied attachment style, because this is the number one thing. That okay, you can be aware of this attachment style, but to recognize this in your everyday life, that's when this theoretical knowledge can get practical, and that's when you can really use it. So we know that anxiously attached people are very well equipped with a sense that how secure a relationship is. Yes, we can say that they are hypersensitive, but what they feel is basically is true. So they are not imagining things, because this is a fact. Avoidant people, they are rejecting them. And what we need to find out how this works in real life. So we as anxious people can recognize their face, their tone of voice, their body language, their behavior, just everything. And actually, I see this as a good thing, because love shouldn't be causing you anxiety. It should be calm and nice and sweet, and like flowing like a river. But love with an avoidant is always with blockages, and that's why it causes anxiety. So there's no wonder that it's called anxious, preoccupied. And I think I left the N out of the anxious, but I leave it like this for now, because it causes anxiety, because we are afraid that they are going to leave us. And we know that it's coming from childhood. So when our parents, or caregivers didn't nurture us consistently, we were scared to death that they are going to leave us. They're not coming back. They left, and oh my God, they're not coming back, because they already did that. There were times when they left us alone, and they didn't help. They didn't care about our needs. So this is just a conditioning, but when it comes to relationships, this is a real thing. These people can actually leave you. You're not going to die, but this is how it feels. And it's real. You feel it in your bones, you feel it in your whole body, and it's very painful. It's just your heart aches, and it's very, very scary. And obviously, once you realize this and you can see yourself from a distance, then you understand this. But when you are in it, when you are experiencing this horrifying feeling that somebody you are attached to, someone whom you find attractive and you love, is going to leave, it's like the end of the world, because you believe that love is forever. And I think love is forever. That's how I believe. That's how I live my life. But when you meet a person who is avoidant, they don't see life like that. For them, is yes, they're assessing you, or is this the person I'm looking for? Is she perfect, or is he perfect for me? And if not, then they just dismiss you. They throw you away like garbage. They don't care how it makes you feel, but you do. You do, and you should. You should. But in this channel, what I'm aiming for is to empower you. So you learn about the avoidance, but as the more and more you learn about them, the more you find them unattractive. I actually don't find them attractive anymore at all. I see a small sign that they are avoidant, and straight away I just feel like there's something uneasy in my body. I just know that, oh, yuck. So, and maybe it sounds a bit harsh, but yeah, they cause me so much pain in my life. There's so many heartaches and pain that I don't want them in my life any longer. And why would I put myself in that situation? So just recognize that, oh, first of all, that you get attached very fast. So you realize this, and it needs a lot of reflection and self awareness, because you can stop this straight away. So You can even get attached to someone after one or two nice conversations without any physical touch. And that is huge. So then something in your brain, all these chemicals, they cause this rush in you, this kind of, yes, I like them, I like the way they treat me, I like the way I feel with them. But then you can just be, objective and, okay, stop, I have to stop myself. This, I just met this person, why would I feel um this so attached to someone? And I know it's hard, I know it's from experience, it's hard to stop, but it's not impossible. And with practice it becomes easier and easier. So you stop for actually, you tell it to yourself, like, no, I'm not in, I don't even know this person, and focus on knowing that person, focusing away from you, how you feel, and focusing on observing the other person and your relationship, or not having, that they are not contacting you, and what they're not doing and what they are doing, just observe them. And you have a talent for this, so it's not difficult. What is difficult is, because our brain are flooded with these different chemicals, is to not to believe them. Definitely not to believe them, because the person you will be in a long-term relationship with is not going to cause you this kind of anxiety and rush, because this is actually not even real. This is just a attachment system activated. So if you feel anxious, nervous, worried, that's already a sign that this is not the relationship you probably want to be in, because real love is give you calmness. They will soothe you. Just, if you never had any kind of secure relationship in your life, then just try to get, in touch with an animal or something, where you feel this unconditional love, that they don't have an agenda. I was lucky. I had a very secure relationship with my mother, and I know that I was never ever ever afraid that love is going to be taken away. I always knew, even with we had an argument occasionally, because it was very rare. We had an amazingly beautiful relationship. But if we had, it never even crossed my mind that love is going to stop. It was constant. It was stable. It was forever. And it is forever. And that is how a secure relationship is going to be. So when you recognize that you have this anxiety, that's already a sign that you need to kind of be a bit distancing yourself from what you feel, and not take them as like they're 100% true. And then obviously, once you are starting a relationship, and there's a first sign that a person start to distance himself or herself. So for example, you had a nice date, and then 2 or 3 days already passed and they didn't call, and you start to feel like, yeah, you're unsure. I'm suggesting normally to leave straight away, but if you can be unsure, and that's a sign, also an anxious attachment style, that you find excuses for them. So you think, oh yeah, because something happened to them, or whatever, you just making up an excuse for their behavior. Why? Because just think about how you would behave if something would happen to you, and that's the reason you cannot contact them. You would let them know. You would send a text that something is going on with my family or with my job. But if they don't do this, they can start your um, attachment system to be activated, and you shouldn't find excuses for them. If they don't do it, that means they don't care about you. They don't care what you feel. They don't care how their actions make you feel. And we know by now that, avoidance tend to think that we are less of like them, that they are dismissive, they are minimizing our feelings and needs, and you don't need that. So by now you should be aware that this is never going to work. So it's one thing to know what is the attachment system, and the other is to be aware how it works in reality. So you have your senses, and you can actually, it can start with a small thing like a facial expression. You just don't see the kindness, the love, the care or attention from a person, but what you see is an empty stare on their face, or a disinterest, or just some. You can actually read their face that they are criticizing you in their head or belittling you, which they do very often. And that's it. That's enough for your attachment system to be activated. And that means if you are not able to catch it, then it's gonna start, and who knows where it's gonna end. But if you realize that if someone is behaving like this, or you can see in their face that they are belittling you, then that is a huge sign of disrespect. And as an anxious person, unfortunately, sometimes you don't have enough boundaries to see what is disrespectful. Not being kind and not accepting you the way you are, and not listening to you and paying attention to you, and basically acting kindly, it's already disrespectful. Believe me, especially at the beginning of a relationship. Like when they make these sarcastic comments, they sound like a joke. That's already a huge red flag for me, especially. That is disrespect. And with people with an anxious attachment style, who has this ability, they have this ability to love unconditionally, they sometimes overlook these things, and then a few weeks later, a few months later, they end up with a lot of heartaches and hurt, and they don't see, oh my god, I let them in, I allowed them to behave like this towards me. If they are disrespectful, and you point this out, you tell them that how it makes you feel, and they are not changing or they are not apologizing, just walk away straight away. Don't even waste any minute on them. They are not understanding you, they are not respecting you, they think they are above you. So I don't even want to talk about this any longer, because it's just, yeah, it makes me a bit upset that how an anxious person can be really just lost in this area. But anyway, we just need education and we need practice, and then we can be much better in this area. So your attachment system can activate by a small thing, um, mostly by people what they are not doing. So they are not contacting you, or don't want to see you, or don't want to hug you. They don't want intimacy. They are not honest. So a lot of these things. And even if they are with you, you just always feel, I mean, they can do things like, I had an experience with a guy who was with me holding my hands and watching every other woman around us. Come on, how disrespectful is that? And I didn't leave straight away, but now I would. Now I know what to do. But at that time, I was like, first I was shocked. Okay, I didn't give him a chance. After a few days, I just dumped him. But I should have done it straight away, because that is very disrespectful. But sometimes anxious people can be shocked by others' behaviors, because for them it's so natural to be kind and loving and caring and just open and accepting and seeing the best in others. And avoidance, they see the worst in others. So that's why they are not a good match at all, at all, at all. So this attachment system can be activated, but as soon as it's activated, you can shut this down very fast if you are aware. If you're not aware, it happens, then shut it down when you find it out. And you can do this. It's possible to shut it down. What happens is you start to be preoccupied with the relationship, so you cannot concentrate on your work, on your studies, on your other areas of your life. You don't even, like, they are not existing. And that's also another sign. So yes, we need a lot of self-awareness. I'm just keep repeating, because otherwise it's not going to work. Because if you are very lost in your thoughts and your own little world, and obviously you're not going to find a way out. So that's being conscious means to me that you're constantly self-awake, you're constantly aware of everything, of your life and the world outside. And but obviously what's happening inside of you, that's where you have the control. So that's where you have to be the most aware. And it's okay if you get lost. It happens to anyone. But the way to shut it down, this is the way I do it, is instead of frantically trying to contact them and be in touch and be close, I use two things. I use cognitively, I use my thinking, and I say to myself, hold on a minute. Why would I want to be in touch with them if they are not? So if they don't see me as important or as interesting, or they don't want to be with me, then I don't want to be with them. So that's it. So I just use this first. And the second thing I do, if you are far down on the relationship, you already had a few months together, you feel like you're in love, or I don't know, how can, after this knowledge, how can you be still in love? But you can actually, because you kind of, this unconditional love is flooded your brain, and and all these chemicals, when you feel like you are in love, that you kind of overlook what they don't do, or all the negative comments or belittling they do. But anyway, once you realize what I have done, and I did it with very difficult situations, with narcissistic personalities and borderline personalities, where it is the most difficult to do, because your attachment system is activated very much so, and it's hard to, so they are very intense and they are very attractive, so it's very hard to not to want to be with them. But I still managed to do, and the way I did it is focusing on the negative qualities, on focusing constantly, is because you're preoccupied, so your brain try to figure this out. And I'm focusing on only on the bad qualities and the things when they didn't show up. And obviously there will be many more. There will be more when they didn't show up, when they did. So when I find myself, in the past, when I found myself focusing or remembering, because the brain is constantly remembering of the memories when it was something really pleasurable that happened between us, then I stop it very firmly and just say, yeah, no, because I'm in charge. I'm deciding what I'm thinking, not my brain deciding. I'm deciding what I'm thinking. So I decide I'm thinking constantly about what they did badly, negatively, how the way that hurt me, just thinking constantly about this. And believe me, quite soon you start to find them unattractive. And it worked for me like a charm. Like I met this person who had this borderline personality slash narcissistic personality. So they have this avoidant attachment style. Borderline have disorganized attachment style. So basically that's why they are a bit more tricky, because they have half anxious, half avoidant. So but basically I focusing on their avoidant behavior, this distancing behavior, hurtful behavior. And after it was all over and I met them later on, I felt absolutely nothing. Like I can't even imagine now that I was so all over them. So it works. It works perfectly, because then you cognitively and also realize that they are not good for you, and then these thoughts, it will develop into feelings, and then your attachment system will calm down, and you accept it, that they are absolutely not good for you, and there are other people who are going to treat you nicely and kindly and with respect. And the next step could be that you imagine someone is loving you the way you would like to be loved. So that's a very good way to distance from themselves, from these people, is imagine how it will feel when someone is loving you the way you want to be loved, and you feel that your nervous system is calm. So you can, and also there are other practices I'm probably gonna talk about in other videos, how you can soothe, you calm down your nervous system. There are many ways to do that. But I'm just telling you one thing you can do straight away. If you find yourself you are very, very anxious, your attachment system is activated, and you can just can't calm yourself down, is either you go running or exercising, something, a strenuous exercise, or the other thing is to do some breathing exercise. And there's one particular breathing when you breathe in on one side of your nostril, and then breathe out on the other, and then you repeat. So you breathe in on the left side, you hold, you put your finger on the other side of your nose, and you breathe in on your left, and you hold, you put your finger on the left, and breathe out on the right side. And this will calm down your nervous system instantly, within a minute, very fast. It happens very fast. And once your nervous system is calmer, then you can start the reassurance that, okay, this person is not deserving my attention, my time. And that's when you can get your control back. When you're really lost, it's quite hard. So you need to do something on the level of the body, or any kind of distraction. All right. So the last thing I would like to mention is really empowering you, that I don't want you to feel more ashamed of yourself that you have needs, that you want a close relationship, that you need this feeling like a team with your partner, feeling like a unit, that you want to be respected, and you want your love to be free flowing and all accepting, because only people who have an avoidant attachment style or other personality disorders, they are the ones who would shame you, who would label you needy, clingy, too much. Nobody else. Even if they see that you're a bit overreacting, they will still respecting you. And with a secure person, you can explain about the attachment style, but they are there to hold a space for you. You understand? So they will give you a big hug, and they will not take anything personally. They will come from trusting. They trust that they will be loved and they will behave lovingly towards you. And they don't use these belittling and sarcastic comments, and they will feel that you are an equal partner, and they will admire that you can love them so much, and you are so caring, and all these qualities that the avoidance push away in you. A secure person will actually admire in you and love in you. So that's what I want to conclude this with session with, that if you have this information about the attachment style, that then you actually have, you know that you are in an advantage, and you can make yourself be in charge and easily ignore the comments and behaviors of the avoidance. Yeah, okay, it's not easy at first, but after a while it is, because you know that they are not true. It's coming from their damaged attachment system, and they are always going to be like this, shutting down, and they like to be on their own, and they like their independence. And for this reason, who cares what they say? So they can say whatever. You have the confidence, you have the knowledge, who you are, what you are capable of. And for one thing, they are not able to do what you can do. They don't know what is unconditional love. And I met many people who actually said it's not exist. Well, I know it does. So it's not exist for them because they are avoidant and they are unable to love unconditionally, because they are always shutting down. And yes, they have an issue with this. There's a problem. Go away and work on this if you can. But yeah, don't judge people who actually can love without limits. And you are those people. You are the love powerhouse. You are the love master. And be confident, be radiant, be yourself, and just ignore all these negative comments. And believe me, after a while, because you are so much aware of who you are and what you're capable of, you are going to meet different people. You're going to meet secure people who admire you because you admire yourself. And that's how I'm going to finish today. I'm glad that you came back to my channel. And if you want, join my private Facebook group and have a wonderful day.